I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Welcome to the Saturday Morning Community Forum. We're excited to bring another powerful broadcast to you this week. We're praying for the family members who've lost loved ones to the terrible building collapse in Florida. And it reminds us of the need for infrastructure rebuilding, assessment, and repair throughout America. And so as we pray for those families, we pray that infrastructure support will be forthcoming from our Congress and Senate. We're also praying for Haiti. Haiti is an island, a country that has been devastated by hurricanes. It has yet to rebuild. And even as we speak this week, the president of Haiti was assassinated in his home. Haiti is now mourning the loss of a president and still struggling to rebuild and to repair its infrastructure. And so we're calling on the global community to give back to Haiti. Haiti has given us so much. We owe Haiti a debt. Let us all extend our support and our prayers for the citizens of Haiti. This week, our founder, Reverend Jesse Jackson, has been extremely busy. He has been hosting the international community. He hosted a meeting with the ambassador from Mali, who expressed a real strong interest in continuing to work with Reverend Jackson and Push for Excellence, as he wants to look at a stronger relationship with our education focus. And then Reverend Jackson has been recently informed that he is to receive the highest honor of a civilian presented by the French president. You're going to hear more about that. And as a matter of fact, if you register for this year's virtual convention, you will be able to join Reverend Jackson and see him receive the honor presented by the President of France. We will share this ceremony live during our virtual convention, the week of August 1st through the 6th. If you want more information, go to rainbowpush.org and you can register for the convention right now. The 4th of July weekend in America has been recorded as one of the worst and most violent weekends in the history of America, particularly in cities like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. And Reverend Jackson has suggested that we have to have a comprehensive approach to solving the violence. It's not just more policing. It is removal of guns, stop the flow of guns into black and brown and poor communities throughout America. It requires a reinvestment in certain under-resourced communities and neighborhoods. It requires a deployment of opportunities for young people who are now on the streets of our cities and in our rural areas, unemployed and under-resourced. We're calling for a massive investment and redeployment of resources to stop the violence, stop the killing, and save our children.
Something important is begin to embrace each other. People assume that the mayor and chief on one team, the mayor and alderman, and there should be something that's beyond argument. So we hope they would say, some people have said already, full of violence, division, polarization. So we need better, we deserve better from leadership.
We launch a new, what we call our weekly report on critical issues that we all face. We call it Push Wire, the Push Wire. On the wire, one thing that we have is a recent case decided by the United States Supreme Court that dealt a devastating blow to the Voting Rights Act. It's a case filed by the Attorney General for the state of Arizona. It has resulted in elimination of all of the protections that we find necessary in Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. And it's decided around an issue of access to the ballot. And you know, we've had a century of denial of access. Well, the court held in this case that the Arizona law requiring voters to vote in person on election day, they must vote in the precinct that they are registered in, which means if my job is closer to another precinct, I could not go and vote there. That now denies people really the right access to the ballot. They said that this ballot restriction was not discriminatorily intended to move against black and brown people. This is what the court is saying. The court also ruled that the size of the impact was so marginal it didn't make any difference. What we're saying, the court was wrong. The United States Supreme Court was wrong. There's a balance of power. We want the United States Senate and House to pass the voting rights bill. We need federal voting rights legislation because now every state will look at Arizona and say, I want to be like Arizona. It's like, I want to be like Mikey. I want to be like Arizona and do what they've done. 3 justices dissented in this opinion, but the majority opinion carried. They said Section 5 was not valid in this case, and therefore you're going to see states across the country trying to follow this Arizona case. So we are joining with Reverend Barber and others around the country marching on the United States Senate. We want the Voting Rights Act passed. We want it passed when? Now, in this term when the Congress goes back. So we're asking you to call your United States senators, tell them we want them to support the Voting Rights Amendment, the full amendment. So we joined with William Barber and the Poor People's Campaign, Stop the Filibuster, push for the full John Lewis Peoples Act, push for the passage of the $15 minimum wage across America. We are calling, this is on the wire, you're on the wire now, you want to join us as we march. We're going to do a national call to every U.S. Senator. July 12th, call your senators this week. Call your United States Senator tomorrow. Call your U.S. Senators.
This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the National Field Director of the Rainbow Push Coalition. I want to thank you for joining us for our International Saturday Morning Forum. You know, as we continue to keep hope alive, we're joining and collaborating in coalitions all over the country. This is the season where our fight makes the biggest difference. And you, from wherever you are, you can go to our website, www.rainbowpush.org, or hit us on social, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and get involved and get engaged today. We are fighting and we're mobilizing across the country through our 1,000 churches connected and our partners like the Poor People's Campaign headed up by Bishop William Barber. We are fighting for the People's Act. We want that act in the fullness of how it was drafted and written, passed by the United States Senate. So what we're going to be talking to you about in the days and weeks to come about a national mobilization campaign to get that act passed, along with the original John Lewis Act, the bill that John Lewis wrote. And believe it or not, brothers and sisters, it's time for some good trouble. We're also fighting for 15, raising the minimum wage federally across the board to $15 to raise the income of low to no income workers so that workers have free access to the American economy. We can do this, and there's no better time than now. So I want you to go to rainbowpush.org. I want you to hit us at 773-373-3366, or go to our many platforms where you can become a part of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Don't forget to become a member today. It's only $35 a year and $15 for seniors and students, and we all get together. We make a tremendous difference. Let's keep hope alive.
We have the power, we can change these conditions. Now, I got two other things and I'm done. You've seen the case of the Olympic track star, Sha'Carri Richardson. She was notified by a journalist that her mother passed, so she decided to cope with that horrific announcement to her. It wasn't her coach, it wasn't her a pastor, it was a journalist who decided to let her know that her mother passed, so she decided to use as her coping mechanism to ingest marijuana, which is legal in the state that she comes from. So now she admits that she did it, and the U.S. Olympic Committee, who are these people that decided that this young lady should not have an opportunity to participate in the Olympics merely because she's in grief, merely because she is mourning the loss of a loved one. And you know the problem is they treat these athletes as if they are gladiators, as if they are robots. She's not a robot, she's human. She has human emotions. The United States Olympic Committee has nowhere in their guidelines do they deal with loss of family, loss of loved ones. They don't have any compassion written into their guidelines. They want these athletes to function like little robots. Want you to talk to the media over here. We want you to perform no matter how you feel, no matter what your emotions are. You just keep being a gladiator. You just like a horse. We will give you what you need to go out and perform. The marijuana it was not a athletic enhancement drug. It had no impact on her ability to run faster than anybody in the world. It's unfair, it's wrong, and we hope that she will sue the United States Olympic Committee. We join with her in fighting against this ruling. It's unfair. And the same thing they did to the tennis player who said that she's having some emotional and mental illness issues with talking to journalists. Why do they have to talk to the media? They are paid to play, not to talk to the media, not to answer questions. They're paid to perform in the sport. And so as women and as people of conscience, of goodwill, we're calling on all of you. Let us challenge this Olympic Committee. I bet you don't know who's on the commission. I bet you've never seen the guidelines. We just sent our children away to be treated like animals, and we don't like it, and we're going to change it. Join us for the convention. We're going to talk more about this. I know you can see and feel my passion. I'm telling you, I'm upset. These girls are manipulated by a system that they make them feel like they have no rights that the system is supposed to protect. Well, we believe they have rights. We believe they're human. And won't you join us at the convention as we fight for women's rights? Join us for the women's part of the convention because we wear many hats. And right now I'm wearing a cap because I'm dealing with the sports situation. It's an imaginary cap. Stay tuned. We have a Push Tech Summit Parts 1 and 2. You want to see what's happening in the tech world, don't turn that dial. Stay where you are. Join Push. Register for the convention. We got so much to cover. I got to go.
Greetings, friends. This is Dr. Joseph Bryant Jr. I have the awesome privilege of serving as the Executive Director of the Silicon Valley Bay Area West Coast Regional Offices for the Rainbow Push Coalition. And we have been so blessed to have the wonderful vision of Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson come to fruition in our area. Over these past several years, as many of you know, he has engaged Silicon Valley companies and he has invited them to come to the table with pipelines of opportunity for minority providers, entrepreneurs, businesses, and those who will be interested in the technology field. So today's conversation is one of extreme value to us because it is the results of our work in addition to highlighting some of the valuable trailblazing work that went on before us. And so today for this Black and Brown Founders panel, you are going to hear from some amazing leaders who have launched their businesses and are doing a wonderful job impacting their communities, impacting their industries, and impacting the nation with their technological genius. So ladies and gentlemen, Black and Brown Founders from the Silicon Valley Bay Area West Coast office, we are so pleased to present Del Medina, Tracy Pennywell, Anita Gardine, Kevin Nichols, and the wonderful Mr. Leo Sullivan. We've all connected through Rainbow Push. We are all indebted to Reverend Jackson, and we are all here to see that we can push the needle forward to make greater things available and possible for people we love. And so I'm going to start with Del Medina.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for all your kind words. It's been a pleasure to work with both you and the rest of the team here in Silicon Valley in uplifting and making sure that economic inclusion is at the center of racial equity. As we all know, Silicon Valley has created millionaires and billionaires, and now during this downturn, trillionaires. And it's important for Black and Latinx and other folks that are underrepresented have access to that wealth that's being created, because so often we are the users of the apps, we are the workers within the apps, but we are not the actual ones that are, being that are becoming wealthy in ways that it's hard to measure sometimes. I am the executive director of Black and Brown Founders, and we provide community education and access to Black and Latinx entrepreneurs, allowing them to launch and build tech businesses with modest resources. What does that mean? That means that we have programs that help people figure out what are the resources that you have available. I'm not anti-VC, but I am pro-revenue. And so you should use the resources and knowledge and understanding that you have to be able to build a tech or tech-enabled product that allows you to not only pay yourself, but hire people equitably. And so that's a lot of the work that I've been doing during the pandemic, actually, during the downturn. And it's been amazing to see how many people are still building and are trying to build solutions with technology, even in the middle of a very painful moment.
Anita Gardine, she was a part of our first pitch competition. And now she is, as they say in the game, killing it with the business that she's built. Anita, talk to us a little bit about you and about Aniva.
Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you today. It is such an honor. Having been on the stage at 2014 Push Tech, thanks to Del Depp, I'm sitting next to, one of the originators, one of those game changers who helped it so people like me can exist and function in Silicon Valley. I'm blessed to be the CEO of Oniva. I've raised $3.5 million. I am the 11th Black female, they said in TechCrunch, to raise $1 million back in 2017. And I believe the 100th Black female just raised $1 million this week. That certainly says that organizations like Rainbow Push and Push Tech and Del Depp's efforts have made a difference in creating opportunities for folks like me. So first, let me say thank you all for creating the path. Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for the introduction to executives at Microsoft and Intel in 2014. So my company, thanks to that introduction, I've spent the last 7 years working with the Vice President of Benefits at Microsoft to build a technology platform that connects trusted caregivers to employees at companies like Microsoft, San Mateo Credit Union, and others, to FBI background check caregivers who come to their homes and they take care of their children, their mamas, their pets, and they'll do house cleaning. Our mission has always been to create a path for families to find balance between work and care for their families and themselves. We're blessed that Reverend Jackson saw within us the ability to build a technology set and to earn a patent that you see behind me on the wall for trust and safety in the in-home care market, the first of its kind. Thanks to that introduction to Intel, in which they aided us with providing system requirements. In this moment, we're excited to roll out a product in which we can onboard as many as 5,000 new customers per city, per region. We can handle as many cities as you want at a time. We can operate in the US and in Europe. But the point is, we can also create 16,000 living rate care jobs right now in the homes of employees at Microsoft who are paying up to $50 an hour. So I'm excited, and I thank Reverend Jackson for giving us the opportunity to create those jobs in the homes of those companies that have helped create us as a certified Black-owned company. And we thank them for creating those Black spins. Microsoft, thank you for the $200 million per year new spin. Salesforce, thank you for the 100 million Black supplier new spin per year. Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for believing in us and creating the opportunity for us now to serve that market, create those living rate jobs for people who look like many of us on the call, doing what we've always done, and that's taking care of people and families.
Tracy, can you tell us a little bit about your path to where you are now and how you and George have launched this amazing initiative to bless young people at HBCUs?
we started HBCU Heroes a couple years ago because we found that anyone can be an HBCU hero, whether you give your time, your money, your volunteering, your resources. But what we have found, as many have said on the panel today, is that there are a lot of gaps in tech. There are a lot of gaps in resources. HBCUs tend to be underfunded, and they do not have the endowments that a lot of the other PWIs have. So for us, we started HBCU Heroes because George, my co-founder, was a coach at Clark Atlanta University. And as he was traveling around and I was going to the away games with him, we started seeing, there were just a lot of areas that HBCUs needed funding. So we started raising money for Clark's men's basketball team, and we branched out. And now when COVID hit, for instance, we both raised money to make sure that we gave computers to about 50 different HBCUs to have so their students could do virtual learning as part of our tech initiative. Once a month, we do an event. So we'll either do esports with you, and of course, Reverend Jesse Jackson have funded so many of our esports tournaments and given us prizes and sponsorships and things to give away to the students. And then we also do Career Fest, which you just happened to speak on one of ours recently, yesterday. We do Career Fest to connect different Fortune 500 companies with students so that they can increase their diversity pipelines. As we all know, many Fortune 500 companies still say, and even to this day, that they're not able to find qualified people of diverse backgrounds to fill their pipeline. So we know that's not true. We want to be that conduit. So every month, especially through this summer, we're doing the Secure the Bag Summer Series, where we have students connect directly with people like Citi, from Citi, and from SiriusXM, and from Pandora, and Intel Computers. And there's lots of big corporations who are interested in the pipeline, interested in having their speakers come on board and to talk with students and give out information on how to get hired, especially through QR codes and things that are not usually considered by students as ways to get employment. So for us, we use tech as a way to enhance the journeys of students, to enhance their careers and their collegiate experiences.
Kevin, we're so grateful to have you here. Talk a little bit about the work you're doing right now, a little bit of your path, as well as the impact you're having both with corporations and with kids.
Part of what I do with the Social Engineering Project, I've been a benefactor of, or a beneficiary actually, of these types of programs growing up. I spent my summers at Mesa, UC Berkeley, starting in 7th grade, all my Saturdays there, went to school abroad during high school to learn math and science, and thought I wanted to be a mechanical engineer when I was growing up. However, my path changed, and thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and worked in big law firms, changed my major, and then actually decided I didn't want to practice law either. What I ended up doing though is falling in love with technology, the legal side of the technology side of the practice of law, and shifted my career getting back into technology. And for the last, I guess, 8 years or so, I've been consulting in diversity, equity, inclusion space. But my business partner, Dr. Brian Brown, is a professor at Stanford. We went to high school together. And he had this theory that if you expose young Black students, particularly, to traditional STEM, so math, science, chemistry, physics, and engineering, at a very young age. So the Social Engineering Project's goal is to address the lack of diversity in the tech industry by providing STEM pipeline programs for young kids to get interested in traditional STEM. That's why we exist. And we're hoping to be able to partner with organizations as well as the industry to increase representation in these subject matters.
All of us today are standing on the shoulders. Obviously, we have been blessed and benefited by Reverend Jackson's voice and values and vision. But today we're so privileged to have with us sharing one of the true, authentic trailblazers. As a matter of fact, we recognized him this year during our Push Tech conference for being a trailblazer and for having a lifelong commitment to technology and the impact that this man has had for 50 plus years in the industry. More years than many of us have been alive, and definitely more years than combined most of us have been in this industry. Mr. Leo Sullivan, it is an honor, sir, to have you with us today. It is our privilege, and we are indebted to you because long before any of us knew what technology was, you were doing it.
When I started in the animation industry way back in the 1960s or so, the 60s, early 60s, there were only about 4 Black people in the entire industry. Now there's hundreds of African-American people, as well as brown people, that are doing animation, are doing the tech stuff, and they're working. A lot of them are working. So with me, the journey was back in those days. I was like one of two or three Black kids in the entire school, and so it's like when I went back for my 50th anniversary. All of y'all listen to that. My 50th high school anniversary.
We heard you. We heard you.
all my graduate students that were there at the reunion, they'd come up to me. They would say, "Did we treat you okay back then?" And I said, "Yes. If you hadn't, I wouldn't be at the 50th anniversary."
Of course, Rainbow Push, you all know we've tried to support all of you in various ways, and we want to do even more to ensure that we can make that a reality. And so in particular, as I close out this session, to Kevin and to Tracy, because of your involvement with young people, we are going to provide both of your organizations with scholarships to the Facebook Elevate program, the digital certification and marketing program by Facebook. And they have afforded Rainbow Push and our Push Tech office the privilege of providing scholarships to those organizations that we are a part of. And so we will be sharing scholarships for digital certification to both of your organizations. So your young people will be trained, and at the end of the training, they will become digital certified marketing individuals with paper behind their name to add to their LinkedIn, their resumes, and everything else, in addition to have that as a backing, not just with Rainbow Push's name, but with the Facebook name as graduates of the Facebook Elevate program. So we're excited to partner with you all in that way. Thank you all for your time, and to everyone that's watching and everyone that's keyed in. All of these wonderful folks are connected to Rainbow Push, so you can go to our website, rainbowpush.org. As I said, friends, these amazing individuals have all done phenomenal work through technology to impact the areas they serve as founders, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as visionaries. And so you heard their stories, you heard their journey. We want you to get behind them, support them, and encourage the work that they do, whether it be regionally specific to those of you in certain areas of the country, or it touches an area of concern and passion of yours with HBCU students, with those that are interested in animation for children, those of you that are looking for technology-based health providers. We have all of these wonderful services. You can go to one place and find them, and that is the Rainbow Push Silicon Valley website. You can go there to Rainbow Push SV, that's for Rainbow Push Silicon Valley, rainbowpushsv.org. All of these companies are linked up there. You can hit on their link, you can click it, go to their sites, see what they're doing, participate, partner, support the efforts of these amazing founders and all of the wonderful work that they do in partnership with Rainbow Push and other organizations as they impact the world, bridging the digital divide. Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for your vision. Let's keep hope alive.
For 2021, we're excited to get more people engaged and involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. Now, if you're interested in public policy and you want to help change the policies that impact those who are incarcerated, you can do so. If you're interested in impacting public policies that benefit education and businesses with social economic solutions, you can do that as well. You can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. Now, if you believe in the scholarships that we've given to thousands of students each year, you can help us out. We've awarded more than $10 million in scholarships year to date. Now, you can help young people achieve a higher education by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now for the annual fee of only $35. And if you're a student or a senior, it's only $15. You can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. Now, if you watch us every week, or if you listen to us on the radio, or if you're viewing on social media, we need you to become a member. And how do you become a member? It's simple. Visit us at rainbowpush.org and press join. Maybe you'd like to support the work of Push. If so, it's really simple. You can do so by texting the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount that you feel comfortable giving, or you can call us at 773-256-2775 or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. So whenever you want to support, you can do it from anywhere. So keep pushing, because we're going to keep pushing for you and keep hope alive.
We want to share with you today a very special conversation with some significant pastors and leaders who have been a part of our Faith Tech movement. I remember sitting in the airport with Reverend Jackson several years ago, and we were just coming out of shareholder meetings with Silicon Valley companies. And Reverend Jackson said, I would really like to take empty Sunday school classes and turn them into tech classes and tech hubs for young people so they can learn coding and apps, and for older people like me to learn how to do technology. And here we are several years later, through the partnerships that we've had with amazing companies. First of all, with HP donating some equipment, Google giving us the framework for what is now known as Connected Churches, and other partners coming alongside us to be a part of this journey. Now these pastors from Chicago and Washington, D.C. and the Bay Area, and these leaders from California and Atlanta are now integrating technology into their communities in a very meaningful way. Not to mention the fact that this past year, we've all become digitally savvy congregations, or we at least tried to be, and Faith Tech Connected Churches allowed us to be on the path to help churches around the country become ready for these unexpected moments around the pandemic, where we've all had to worship from home, do our virtual services and classes, but it's because of Connected Churches we were ready to serve and ready to support. Let's hear from these leaders today, talking about the impact of the digital emphasis we've made through Reverend Jackson Vision and Faith Tech Connected Churches.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Pastor. My name is Anita Thomas Lee, and I have had the honor and pleasure of serving in various roles, but as a digital inclusion advocate, more so, with Rainbow Push, and as a Jesse Jackson Digital Inclusion Fellow. Being obedient, giving a little background about myself, I have been serving in the cause of digital inclusion since 2015. And during that time, I was asked to come on as a digital inclusion fellow. And at that time, in that year, I worked with the City of Atlanta Parks and Recreation, serving their digital inclusion needs. Interestingly enough, it was a one-year fellowship, and when they were deciding to do a second year, I just knew that I was going to come on. I just knew, because of all of the great and hard work that I had done that year at City of Atlanta, but I wasn't chosen, and I was devastated. But as a woman of faith and as a daughter of Christ, I learned as I grow older that God had a plan. He did not want me to be in the second fellowship. He wanted me to be in the third, which would allow me to be a Jesse Jackson Digital Inclusion Fellow. And so in that time, I was working here in Atlanta. Like say, I'm from Atlanta, with 7 different churches. My colleague and I worked with trying to establish digital inclusion efforts, computer labs, and and computer sessions for the community. And from that experience, and that first pilot, I was asked, and I was blessed and honored when Pastor Brian offered me the opportunity to work directly with Rainbow Push and with Google to start the Connected Churches Project. I was able to do that for 2 years. And then I was asked to come on as a full partner with Rainbow Push here doing the Faith Tech Connected Churches program. And I'm honored to continue to do that. And so we had to work with convincing ministry leaders that this is now the new and the next evolution in feeding the body of Christ and to showing the love of Jesus by empowering people with the knowledge of technology so that they enhance their lives. And like you mentioned before, Pastor, we didn't know that a pandemic was coming along the way. But guess what? The churches that recognized and captured what we were trying to push, pun intended, all those years ago, are now better equipped. We're then better equipped to handle the pandemic and the pandemic moving forward and post-pandemic, whenever the Lord sees us fit to get to that moment. And so that was the first thing. And of course, we went to various conventions, denominational conventions, where and of course, the Rainbow Push conventions, where when we had ministers all gathered together and we talked about that we serve a God that is greater than Google, but we also serve a God who created a Google. And if we believe that God created everything, then we have to understand that this was a tool that God allowed to create it for us to continue to serve the body of Christ.
Pastor Patterson, there in the city of Chicago, we were able to come your way. Obviously, headquarters there being in Chicago, we had to make a stop in Chi-Town and make sure we were connecting with ministries there. You have had a long history working with Rainbow Push, and not only working with Push, but you were so open for us to come and to engage with your ministry. Talk a little bit about how we came and shared with your ministry and what that was able to be for your members and the whole experience of how technology through this partnership has really blessed you, Pastor.
You are absolutely right. We are the beneficiaries of a relationship that has lasted long before I was affiliated with the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. Shiloh just happens to be one of the homes, the previous home of Rainbow Push as a headquarters just before Rainbow Push moved to its current location back on 4840 South Dorchester. Many years ago, Reverend was meeting there, and I think they found their current home because they were in such close proximity to our church back in the day, over 20, almost 30 years ago. And so it was easy for me to open our doors for all that Push has offered to 1,000 Churches Connected and all the other ways in which Push continues to keep hope alive through ministry as the main medium for creating change in community. I believe that the only reason why our church was positioned to be the first of the folks who experienced the impact of Reverend's vision was because we were in close proximity. And so I can't say enough to churches all across the country, figure out how to get connected to Push. When you are in close proximity to Push, Push does great things for you. And it set us up for the greatest technological advancement that we could have had in the midst of this pandemic.
And that brings me to Pastor Tony Lee on the East Coast. He's coming in another real partner to Push. And Pastor Lee, I thank you for just being an advocate for us.
Reverend Jackson is always kind of light years ahead of the curve. And so he was pushing the church around technology. Some kind of ran to it, some kind of went kicking and screaming, but all of us went to it after the pandemic, right? And so what you saw was that as capacity, Rainbow Push was able to help churches with capacity, to build capacity technologically so that, and I believe the churches were much better positioned so that when emergency crisis pandemic hit, that those churches were already in place to be able to pivot. And it wasn't a hard pivot because they already had some of the equipment in place. They already had the technological know-how in place. They were already able to be able to connect in ways. And that is what I believe was helpful. So for us, whether it was the equipment, and we appreciate that, or whether it was the training and connecting us to folks like my dear sister, Sister Anita Lee. We have the same last name, but different parents. But I claim her as family because she's so brilliant. And so you always want somebody smart in the family.
No question.
And so we claim her as family. But it helped us also with the connection with Rainbow Push and Google. It helped us to leverage that relationship to be able to then have other pieces take place. So say for us, while we had the computer lab and the class and those kinds of pieces, now we have just shaped the Hope Center. And we did that during pandemic. And during pandemic, we were able to leverage some of that stuff and list some of that stuff in connection to our workforce development programming and our food insecurity stuff and our healthcare insecurity stuff. And so we're able to do a lot of the other areas that Rainbow Push has been helpful for us in the conversations, and Reverend has been helpful and a champion with. We were able to look at that holistic model, and tech was a piece of it, and position that so that our state and our revenue authority were able to give us, not give us a facility, but kind of partner with us in facility. And so now we have this new facility that is about to open up that's got the tech side, but it's also got the workforce development. It's also got the feeding side and the grocery side. And a piece of that was, it means something to say, we have a computer center with Rainbow Push and Google. Right, I'm at the table and I'm calling y'all name. I'm calling out the name of Reverend Jesse Jackson, is a friend of ours. He has come by this ministry and helped to build capacity in our ministry, and that means something. And so I believe that it was those pieces. It was what it tangibly meant for the initial trainings, but also the capacity building that allowed us to then jump over some things and move at even some higher levels to go to kind of where we're going right now. And for that, we're deeply grateful to Push. We're deeply grateful to Reverend Jackson.
We didn't know anything about a pandemic. We just knew people needed technology, and we knew that the church needed technology. Give us just 60 seconds, your message, because I've been blessed to hear you around the country. We've been in Chicago, we've been in LA, and we've been in Atlanta, we been in DC, we've heard in New York. I've heard you say how badly the church needs technology. You, as a digital inclusion specialist, as an experienced entrepreneur, as a PK, and as a woman of God who loves the Lord, tell us again why we need technology. Pandemic aside, you said this for years. Tell us why we need that. Tell us why we need it, Anita.
I feel like this is what I feel like the Holy Spirit has laid on my heart, that this pandemic was God's power move. It was his power move because he needed everybody, his people, the world, we got to slow this thing down. We were getting too busy. We were getting too busy doing busy work. He needed us to slow down. He needed us to focus on what's important. And for my wonderful church family, the building and the people in the building, that's not what's important. The mission field was outside of your walls. And for whatever reason, his people weren't seeing this. And he was like, I'm going to bring something that's going to make you slow down and understand you can't even worry about these four walls anymore. You don't even have a choice. You can't even go back in them. So what's important? What's important, right? It's the needs of the people. And technology, God's invention, is what's going to help you continue to meet the needs of the people. I've heard stories of congregations who made the pivot and adopted technology, who now have more tithes and offerings coming in than they have before. They're reaching more people. They have more people hitting up their streaming service than they ever did, having people come into the building. We have people who were disconnected with their home church. A lot of times, maybe because they moved away, or maybe because their job schedules. Now I can get and be in contact with my home church again, even though now I'm living in Florida and my home church is here in Stockbridge, Georgia.
Right.
So, you know, I know I'm going over my little 60 seconds, but I was going to say, you know, I just want to leave with this. Lord laid on my heart this thought of this evolution of how we've used things over time. You know, there was this cool thing came up, the radio. And when the radio was invented, a person of God decided, oh, this is a way that we can reach people. And then the telephone was invented. Oh, this is a way that we can reach our people when we can't get them in the building. We can give them a call and give them prayer and love and comfort. Then the television, that was invented. And then someone of faith realized, oh, this is in a technology where now I can broadcast the gospel to even further to the people. And what I say is that the internet is just the next evolution to once again do what? Spread the love of Jesus Christ to all the nations.
I think that's part of the great vision, and Pastor Lee so eloquently shared it, both from a biblical as well as a practical, using the analogy of football perspective of how we embrace what God has given Reverend Jackson. And that is, we started doing Faith Tech before there was this great need beyond our wildest dreams. We started Faith Tech because we wanted to make ministry better. And we wanted to equip our people to be better. The vision to teach coding and apps to kids and to get seniors to be comfortable so they can order medicines from their doctors. Check and check. And we've been able to do those kind of things. And yet it's been this past 16 months that has accelerated the track for us in what we've already been doing.
So, and I would say in 60 seconds that for those who are not on board, get on board. I believe many have gotten on board reluctantly, but I would tell you that this is not the end, just the beginning. That this is positioning us to be able to do the work in such a way that revival can happen in many ways. And so Reverend has given us a prophetic vision. He's shown us a direction. He's shown us what's coming down the way. And there's a need for us to be able to seize that. And I thank God he didn't just give us kind of the vision, but he also helped with provision.
Yes.
He shaped the partnerships and relationships
Yes.
so that we didn't just see what was happening, but he said, and here's what can help you to navigate that. And so I'm gonna tell you, stay plugged in to Push because Push is going somewhere.
What you don't know is we acquired a grant from the city of Chicago that allowed us to prepare and position job seekers during the pandemic for job opportunities. And we took Chromebooks, bought them Chromebooks with that grant, and helped to continue to educate them in the midst of the pandemic in person because of what you started. And so you have no idea, Reverend has no idea how far reaching the impact of his work has been and will continue to be because of the influence and the foresight that you've worked with.
Wow, my friends. I hope you've been as inspired as I have been just listening again to the excitement of these leaders and how they have allowed technology to impact not only their congregations, but their community. That's what we are here to do. That's what Reverend Jackson is all about. As a preacher himself, one who loves God's people and one who understands the dynamic of the local church, he has always seen the church as a cornerstone for the impact that happens within our community. Obviously working under the leadership of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and all of those early days of gatherings with pastors and how they were able to mobilize. Reverend Jackson has again used this as the blueprint to help us to know how to engage our churches as the places of hope and help for our community. So thanks to all of these pastors and leaders for all the work that they do. Thanks to all of you for your support, to all of our corporate partners, to all of our business and technology partners. Continue to join with us. Join Rainbow Push by going to our main website, rainbowpush.org, but hook up with what we're doing in technology If you go to our Silicon Valley website, Rainbow Push SV, that's for rainbowpushsiliconvalley.org, and get more information about all the programs that we're doing, the partnerships that we have, and the engagement that we'll be doing continuously in our satellite spaces, as well as other places around the country. This is how we truly, in the spirit of God and in the spirit of our leader, keep hope alive. Peace.
There's several announcements I want you to mark your calendar. One, Push Excel is hosting its summer STEAM sports camp. It will be July 9th through August 7th, and we'll talk more about some of it is going to be virtual, most of it is going to be hands-on, and we'll talk about how you can engage your young people this summer for 8 weeks in a powerful STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math program, as well as sports. Our young people have not had physical activity for almost 2 years. We're going to get them back in shape. They've gained a lot of weight because they've been doing this, so we're going to get them back in shape. The other thing is what we're doing in Chicago. We want to model this all around the country. We have what we call a track competition. We are trying to find who is the fastest runner in the city of Chicago. We're partnering with the city of Chicago, and Mayor Lightfoot has coined the phrase, it's the race to Gately Stadium. We're qualifying students all over the city and to try to see at age 8, at age 13, at age 17, who is the fastest young woman, young man, who is the fastest person in our city at those age groups. And so what we want you to do is take your child to the nearest school, to the Park District, register them for the Race to Gately. Reverend Jackson is looking to see who in your neighborhood is the fastest on your block, who's the fastest in your park district, who's the fastest in your school district. And when I say school districts, I'm talking about elementary and high schools. We're trying to find out which young lady, which young man, in elementary and high school are the fastest in the city of Chicago.
You may not be the fastest, you may be the one with the most endurance. Sometimes the fast people run dash and other people run steeplechase, right?
Yes, sir.
So I want you to say everybody.
Everybody
Is a winner.
is a winner
When they do the best.
when they do their best.
Your best
Your best
is good enough.
is good enough. You don't want to miss this. Make sure that children in your church, children in your family are registered for the Race to Gately.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
Dr. Kim, I went to jail with a group of 7 students, July 17, 1960, almost 60 years ago. We never stopped moving. I lost a few jail cells and death. We never stopped moving. I thought it was time to write some of it down so the older generation can learn how we did what we did and how global it was a speech about Mandela in South Africa, India, Qatar, by Gandhi in India, here at home. This book tells the story, so please get it and give it to your friends. Read it, let's argue about it, let's discuss it.
Yep, so the book is Keeping Hope Alive, Sermons and Speeches of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. It's quite a good collection. You know, we've got sermons and speeches from around the globe because you have made such a global impact, not just here in the US, but around the world.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444 to support the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition. When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
We are Sanctuary. We are a sanctuary.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children. Don't get in. Shut it down. If we don't get in, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution. Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural gaps.
Going forward. By hope. Not backwards. By fear.